choice. That's what we believe. We believe we're the chosen people. We don't believe Jews are the chosen people. We don't believe Jews are the ones going to the promised land. We don't think Jews are a part of God. No, Jews are nothing but another part of that same race of devils that come out of Europe. Black people are standing up. Black people are rising up, and they're starting fight.
We were slaves in Egypt. We belong to the Father, ain't no pledge of allegiance. We both to celebrate that killing that he didn't need you. We both to keep the holy days, don't be like the heathen. He said that for
Peace, family. I just seen this and I just thought it was crazy. Basically, the Supreme Court is to debate whether cities can punish people who are homeless. Yes, the Supreme Court to debate whether cities can punish people who are homeless. Advocates have handed out supplies to the unhoused community of Morris Park and Grants Pass, Oregon on March 28th, 2024. When Helen Cruz pitched her tent in a city park a few years ago and made it her home, she chose the location for one reason. She wanted to be close to the houses that she cleans for a living but could never afford for herself. People see the irony of it, said Cruz 49. I never looked at it like that. What Cruz didn't realize then was that living in a park in Grants Pass, Oregon, would place her in the middle of a national debate that will reach the Supreme Court on Monday about whether cities can respond to a spike in homelessness by punishing homeless people. This is your government. This is the politicians, this is the people we have in power right now who think like this. The snakes in the grass who think just like this. I don't know. I mean, well, a lot of people haven't experienced homelessness, but I know for myself, I've experienced homelessness. Nobody would have ever known it, but I had to sleep in my car for damn near, a couple months. But yeah, I've experienced homelessness as well. So if I couldn't have slept in my car, they would have gave me a ticket for just sleeping in my car when I have no other place to go. When you go to the shelter here, especially in Philly, you go to the shelter and you try to get in there. If you don't have an addiction, you don't have some type of mental issue, you know you're going to be put on a waiting list and you're still going to have to sleep out in the street anyway. See, everybody wants to shine a light on the fact that there's homelessness, but not the fact that there's a big issue with employment, with the fact that housing is not available to men. Housing is so hard to get on the list of housing that you can't. If you try to get on the list, it's going to be a waiting list for like a whole 2-3 years. But the fact is that we know that usually women and children get the first houses whenever they come up. So you're basically saying only one gender is going to have the opportunity to get housing, to get access to food stamps, to get access to this, to get access to that. And then you're creating this whole division. But that's a whole nother video. And the fact that this homelessness is getting out of control. In the most significant appeal involving unhoused Americans to reach the high court in decades, the justices will hear arguments Monday on whether ticketing people who live on the streets is cruel and unusual and violates the Eighth Amendment. The case being watched closely by the city and city officials who are uncertain how to respond to a surge in homelessness and encampments that have cropped up under the bridges in city parks across the nation. It's also being followed by people who live in those encampments and are alarmed by efforts to criminalize the population rather than build shelters and affordable housing. What was I just saying? Nobody wants to be out here, said Cruz, who has since moved into a church where she also serves as a caretaker. We know the parks are for family and children. The thing is, we have no place to go. There's no housing. Cruel and unusual. Yeah, it really is. Between 2022 and 2023, the number of people experienced experiencing homelessness increased 12% according to a Department of Housing and Urban Development report in December. On any given night, that study found that more than 650,000 people in the United States are unhoused, including roughly 40% without adequate shelter. Grants Pass, a city of 38,000 people in southern Oregon, responded by intensifying enforcement of anti-camping ordinances that bar people from sleeping in public with bedding, which can include sleeping bags and bundled up clothing. The city says the prohibitions apply to everyone, not just the unhoused. Yeah, right. Critics say the only people pitching tents on the sidewalks are homeless. The debate about whether the ordinances apply to a class of people or to prohibited conduct will feature prominently Monday. A 1962 Supreme Court decision found that a California law that criminalized drug addiction as opposed to drug possession amounted to cruel and unusual punishment under the Eighth Amendment. I can see where the policymakers are coming from. I just think that it's so broad that we're going to ticket you for just simply existing. And that's what they're doing, said Mary Farrell, executive director of the Maslow Project, a nonprofit that works with homeless children in Grants Pass. The sense on the ground is that the city just doesn't want people experiencing homelessness, period. City officials argue the Eighth Amendment's prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment was aimed at torture and hard labor sentences opposed by 18th century kings, not tickets handed out by police. That's actually not particularly true. And I love the fact that they do this thing where they know most people don't know anything about their history. So then they can jump on that to then tell you lies. The whole point of indentured servitude was the fact that they were kidnapping little children in England off the streets that were homeless and sending them into fucking servitude. Their own people. This is what Europeans did. Albions did to their own people. So you have to excuse me because I actually know my history. I know that the main reason they made that law, they made this amendment, was so that you know to never allow this again. Homelessness, they say, is a challenge in terms of public safety and not a constitutional matter for courts to decide. Literally, almost all the laws in the framework of this country were based so that these people would not rape us again. That nobody, no government, no large government would then come and just be able to confiscate our belongings, take things from us, run into our houses whenever they want to, sit there and look at everything we're writing and reading online. Do you understand? They're literally creating laws now to circumvent laws that were supposed to protect us from the government. And a lot of people are so unaware that they think the government is supposed to be ruling us. The government is for checks and balances. That's it. See, I was raised with knowledge of self and who I am. So I know that a lot of what y'all allow is ridiculous. We have a constitution for a reason. We have amendments for a reason. So to show us what our inalienable rights are. So that we are not violated by people that say they are on our sides, that are our friends, and are not. This is tyranny, okay? This is tyranny. This is cruel and unusual. The solutions lawyers for Grants Pass told the Supreme Court is not to stretch the Eighth Amendment beyond its limits and place the federal courts in charge of this pressing social problem. And you see cops come out there, they about to ticket somebody or something, make sure they don't have nowhere else to go. Because I would love to live in the park. The Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against the city, holding that it could not enforce its anti-camping ordinances against homeless people for the mere act of sleeping outside with rudimentary protection from the elements, or for sleeping in their car at night when there was no other place in the city for them to go. A 2019 study found that 602 people who were homeless in Grants Pass and another 1,045 individuals who were precariously housed, according to the plaintiffs. Meanwhile, the city has extremely limited shelter space. There's no difficulty in determining that the people who were living outside in Grants Pass were doing so because they had nowhere else to go. At the Oregon Law Center, Ed Johnson, who represents the plaintiffs, no compassion in stepping over our people. The case has put some government leaders in a delicate position. Yeah, real delicate. You're going to cause people to start rioting again. That's what you're going to do. I'm not purporting to any violence. Wink, wink. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell all you people, you government officials, and all them people out here who think they're in power, the people going to wake up. The people are eventually going to wake up, slowly but surely, every day. Your time is up. As far as I'm concerned, I'm ready to fire you all. See, what we got to understand is if we came together as a society and said, we're done with this, the government don't have no option. The government is not even really supposed to be in charge of us in this way. But so many of us are ignorant that they do what they want to. They act as if they're our parents. The government is not our parents. Okay. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, told the High Court last month that people experiencing homelessness shouldn't be criminalized, but he also warned the justices against a broad ruling that could tie the hands of the government in dealing with encampments. There's no compassion in stepping over people in the streets, and there's no dignity in allowing people to die in dangerous, fire-prone encampments, Newsom told the court in a brief decided with neither side. It's true. The Biden administration has tried to walk a fine line too. It is urging the Supreme Court to block Grants Pass from effectively criminalizing the statute of homelessness, but it also suggests the matter should be returned to a lower court by a case-by-case basis, for a case-by-case analysis of whether the individual people ticketed in fact had nowhere else to sleep. I don't really agree with that, but that's neither here nor there. Cruz described receiving so many tickets that she's struggling to pay them off. More than a year after she moved out of the park, she received a ticket. She said she had to pick up her belongings and move. Each violation of the ordinances carry a $295 fine. Okay, which increases to more than $500 if not paid. After 2 tickets, police can order a person to avoid a park for 30 days. Okay, so where are they supposed to sleep at then? Anyone who violates that order can be sentenced to 30 days in jail. Wow, we knew that was going to happen. For Cruz, the ticketing felt like harassment in an effort to nudge people experiencing homelessness out of Grants Pass entirely. But she said, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not going to let anybody push me out. That's where we at in this country, people. That's where we at. And especially in this lovely city now I'm living in. They starting the same thing here. They close the stores at a certain time. Now you have a curfew in a certain area because they have a drug problem, but they also have a big homeless epidemic up there too, in the Northeast. So instead of them really dealing with the issue, nah, we're not going to deal with housing. We're not going to deal with the fact that unemployment is going up, even though people are saying unemployment is going down. It's going up. It's raising. Because what people are doing is they're hiring a lot of temporary workers. And they're doing a lot of temp stuff. And then they also hiring the migrants over citizens. Because these businesses know that they can pay the migrants less. And they won't complain. They know they can pay them below the minimum wage and they're not going to complain. They're just going to take that check. We going into a demise in this country, and we getting to the point where I'm Aboriginal American, I'm Aboriginal indigenous to these lands, so I know who I am. But for those of my people who call themselves black and perceive themselves as black, and you want to be a part of this so bad, you're going to go down on a sinking ship. So if you want to be a part of this, go ahead. Go right ahead. Keep participating in this system, thinking it's going to work out for you. I'm not saying I'll make your money. But understand, this system was not built in our favor. And we need a change first before anything. And I'm not talking about no Barack Obama change. I'm talking about a change in government, a change in politics, a change in way we as a people have to have a bigger say-so in the way the government operates. The fact that we are such a low minority is the fact that we should have a bigger vote and a bigger say-so in this government. We took part in building this thing. We ain't have no say-so in how it operated, though. It's about time for that to change. I'm out. Peace. Like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and show some love if you can, all right? Likes don't cost nothing. I'll let y'all. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching to the end. And, do your thing, all right? And let me know if you disagree as well. I like to hear, like people that actually got a different opinion than myself. All right? Peace.
Back to who we are. I don't see how you don't see.
You're Lazarus. You're the dry bones. You're the prodigal son. You're the lost sheep. You're the people about whom the Bible is speaking, who will stand up in the last days when the trumpet is sounded.
I shall keep it until the end. Give me understanding, and I shall keep your law. Yea, I shall observe it with my whole heart. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.